Okay, so entering data in Excel is pretty straightforward. Now, there's multiple ways that you can go about it, but the way I always do it is simply just selecting a cell by hovering over it here, and then you just start typing. So I'm just going to put in budget right here. Now, once we type it, you see we kind of have this cursor that shows up here. This is the same thing that you'd see in Microsoft Word or something else, and that just tracks exactly where the letters are going to show up. You also see that it comes up here, and once we're done, we can simply just hit enter. And what that does is hitting enter is actually going to accept that as a value in that cell. Now that's, budget is in that cell for sure, and then it actually moves it down to the next cell. So the other options that we have is if I do, let's just say, let's do gas. I can click on a cell and start typing, and instead of hitting enter, I can come up here and you see this check and this X here, and basically hitting this check is going to accept that value, and instead of moving the cursor down, it just stays right there. Normally I just hit enter because it's just easier. Now if we want to edit data that's already there, we can either select the cell and start typing again, and let's say I wanted to say fuel instead. It automatically replaces that value as soon as I start typing. But if I wanted to edit something that's there instead of just completely removing it, I can simply double click on that cell, and again you see that cursor, and I can say backslash cash. I don't know what you want to say there. So that's kind of how we edit existing data. Now the other way you can input data is if you select a cell, you can type it up here. Let's put, and then again I can hit the check here, I can cancel, or I can just hit enter. Now an important thing when you're entering data in Excel, it's important to remember that if something is longer, say I do, instead of budget, let's do monthly budget. Now if you notice, it's kind of going outside the width of this cell, but that's okay. Excel understands that everything contained in this formula bar here is really the value of this individual cell. So if it overlaps into another cell, that's okay. It's not going to mess anything up. It just doesn't really look good. So we can simply hover over the column here, and once you get this cross with the two arrows pointing to the right, you can click and drag, and we can resize that cell, and now you see monthly budget fits in that cell perfectly. Another quick way to do this is when you're hovering here, you can just double click and it just kind of automatically adjusts to a nice size there to fit everything in there. So just remember that the value in this cell, even though it's going overlapping over some other cells, it doesn't necessarily mean that it affected B. So let me show you here. So in cell A1, monthly value or monthly budget is our value there. But if I go to B1, even though budget's kind of bled over into this cell, you see the value is still blank, as it should be, because if we resize this cell, then we can see that. So that's basic way that we can input data into an Excel sheet.